Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for our weekly update. I'm pleased, as always, to be joined by Dr. Lawrence Lowe, the Chief Medical Officer of Health for Peel, and Tim Beckett, Fire Chief and Director of Emergency Management. COVID cases in Peel as a whole have been on the rise, and are remaining relatively stable in Mississauga, with an average of 201 new COVID cases per day in Peel and 54 in Mississauga over the last week. These are the highest numbers we have seen in this region since the onset of the pandemic in March. Dr. Lowe told me he believes that this upswing is a result of small and large social gatherings over the Thanksgiving long weekend. What this means for Peel is that we are now officially in the second wave. We know from the evidence that most of the transmission is happening when people gather indoors with those outside their immediate households. We are responsible for moving this virus. Our personal choices and our behaviors are what's driving the numbers, and only we can stop it. So please, I'm urging you, reduce your in-person contact. Do your best to keep it to those in your immediate family, your immediate household, and your essential supports. We are truly at a critical moment here, and we need to be vigilant. We have a chance right here and right now to stop the second wave from overwhelming our community and overburdening our hospitals. Our collective goal has to be avoiding large gatherings, to prevent a longer lockdown for our struggling businesses, to keep our schools open, and of course, to protect our long-term care homes. Reducing the risk of spread of the virus will also mean doing things differently this Halloween. I know that many parents and children are disappointed that they're being asked to forego door-to-door trick-or-treating. Halloween is one of those exciting times of the year for all the kids right across Mississauga, right across Ontario and in Canada. So again, I encourage parents to find creative ways to keep festivities exciting but safe for their children. In my experience, if there's candy, the kids are happy. The city is sharing ideas on social media about how you can celebrate Halloween safely. So please, have a look at the city's Facebook and Twitter page for ideas. At the end of the day, it's up to parents to make decisions in the best interests of the health and the safety of their children. To all the adults out there, this means no Halloween house parties for you too. So no costume parties this year, please. It's just not worth it. We don't want to see another surge like we did during Thanksgiving or following Thanksgiving. If 311 receives complaints about large gatherings, our enforcement teams will be responding. I'm really hoping that by celebrating Halloween differently, we can once again join to celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa. I now want to address our city's small business community, and in particular, our restaurants, bars, and gym owners. I have heard from many of you over the past few days and weeks, and I know that you're incredibly anxious about your future. I know that you're frustrated, and I know that you're hurting. But I want you to know that we are in your corner. Your mayor, your council, and your city is behind you. We're doing everything in our power to advocate on your behalf. I understand that while restaurants, bars, and gyms are not the source of spread here in Mississauga, our provincial partners and the chief medical officers of health have made their case clear earlier this month to close these establishments to prevent the further spread of COVID-19. And this is a global best practice to do so. We must continue to respect the direction of our public health officials. We need to get our numbers down if we're going to help our businesses reopen and re-enter phase 3 over the next few weeks. It's that simple. And that's why I'm asking the community to step up and support our small businesses by doing their part to help reduce the spread and keep case counts down. I'm hopeful that by working together, we can make this happen and we can get our businesses reopened. We recognize that we are in the midst of a second wave here in Peel, and that the health and the safety of our residents must continue to be our top priority. At the same time, we remain positive and find ways to ensure that local businesses not only survive, but thrive in this very difficult time. COVID-19 is unfortunately part of our new reality and will be so for the foreseeable future. Ultimately, our economic health is inextricably tied to the health of our city and of our people. While public health must always be our top priority, we must work to strike the right balance to ensure that our economy continues to move forward and that our residents can make ends meet. To that end, the Peel Region mayors are working on a letter that will be sent to Dr. Lowe, asking him to prepare plans for 3 possible scenarios as we approach the minimum 28-day period for the modified Stage 2 restrictions that were outlined by the province. We want to be ready and prepared to respond to the second wave as it evolves and as circumstances change. Ultimately, it will be up to our public health officials to recommend next steps, depending on our pandemic picture here in Peel. The 3 scenarios are as follows. First, status quo. If case rates remain stable, we need a path forward for local businesses. Many are uncertain of what the future holds and have told me they can't survive repeated closures. Secondly, a return to Stage 3. Should case numbers improve here in Mississauga, we want to ensure that businesses impacted by Stage 2 restrictions are ready and prepared to reopen. Peel mayors are seeking Dr. Lowe's advice on what modifications would need to be made to help businesses safely reopen, such as reducing capacity in bars, early closings in restaurants and gyms, or requiring plexiglass partitions between dining room tables, etc. And thirdly, additional closures. Should case counts increase and further closures be recommended, we ask that those decisions be driven by local data that speak to our unique circumstances here in Mississauga, here in Peel, local data. As I discussed with the other GTHA mayors and chairs earlier this week, we urgently need a safe path forward for all of our small businesses. We need to ensure that they're fully supported to weather this storm. We're also doing what we can to advocate to higher orders of government for the immediate financial relief that our businesses need, not only to survive, but to thrive. Today, along with Tony Frankfurter, our Chair of Tourism in Mississauga, I sent a letter to the Prime Minister and the Premier urging both to provide additional supports and immediately release the promised funds to help small businesses here in Mississauga. As a city, we are doing everything in our power, but we simply don't have the resources or the fiscal firepower that other levels of government have to provide a direct injection of financial support to our business community. Among the many asks, I have requested that if further closures are to be explored, that they be based on local data. I've requested that the province review outdoor patio regulations to ensure expanded yet safe outdoor dining is possible this winter. At the city, we're looking to extend our temporary patio program year-round at our next council meeting in early November. I've asked the province to help local manufacturers step up production of items that are currently in short supply, such as patio heaters and tents, so that our businesses can comfortably accommodate customers outside. I've heard from many restaurant and bar owners who are struggling to get their hands on this type of equipment. I've asked the province to put a cap on delivery commission fees for food delivery apps for the duration of the shutdown to provide relief to restaurants offering takeout only. I have urged both the province and the federal government to make it easier for small businesses to access the financial supports that they need to survive. and this includes immediately releasing the $300 million in funding announced by the province for businesses impacted by the Stage 2 restrictions that will help them offset fixed costs such as property taxes, hydro, and natural gas bills. I've asked the federal government to help streamline and simplify the application processes for their relief programs, including the new Canadian Emergency Rent Subsidy and the Canadian Emergency Wage Subsidy. Businesses need help now in order to make it to 2021. Supports need to be immediately accessible to businesses in all types of situations to avoid permanent closures. I've asked the federal government to ensure small business owners and entrepreneurs are also eligible for programs like the Canada Recovery Benefits, as well as employment insurance. I know that many are struggling to keep on top of their household expenses, like mortgages and rent payments. They too have families and homes and personal bills to pay. I am fighting for you, and I'm doing everything in my power to make sure that your concerns are heard at all levels of government. I'm asking that all Mississaugas also to play their part by supporting our small businesses. Please think Mississauga made when making your purchases this week. Visit that local coffee shop in your neighborhood. Support Takeout Tuesdays. Pop into that children's clothing store that you always wanted to check out, or that small independent grocery store around the corner. And on that note, I'm happy to report that our city has extended our partnership with Ritual One. This means that Mississauga businesses can access their digital ordering platform free of charge until the end of the year. And until November 8th, Ritual One will be waiving all delivery charges for online purchases for businesses and customers. Businesses, please take advantage of this free service. And residents, please make the effort to order delivery at least once a week. It may seem like a small gesture, but this can be the difference between a small business staying open or having to shut their doors. Mississauga, we have a chance right now to stop this virus in its tracks. Please, please do everything you can to limit your contact with those outside your household. Do it for your family. Do it for yourself. Do it for that teacher at your local elementary school, for that personal support worker at that long-term care home, for that small business owner struggling to survive. And now I'd like to invite Dr. Lowe to come up and provide us with his weekly update. Dr. Lowe?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and good afternoon. As of noon today, Peel Public Health has investigated 5,139 cases of COVID-19 in the city of Mississauga, 381 active, 4,524 recovered, and 234 deceased. This past weekend, the region of Peel saw rapid growth in our new daily cases beyond known chains of transmission, confirming the arrival of a second wave in our community. Some might wonder why I am announcing this sometime after Ottawa and Toronto